거대한 폭풍이 오더라도 돌아올게요.
Meet Woo-Sol, the perfect student who carried himself with quiet dignity and earned universal respect through his academic excellence and gentle nature. His peaceful world shattered when the classroom door opened to reveal a nightmare from his past. The teacher proudly introduced Seok-chan, the national high school boxing champion. But while classmates erupted in cheers, Woo-Sol's face drained of color as if death itself had walked through that door. The moment their supervisor left, Seok-chan's true nature emerged. He brutally attacked the class troublemaker, establishing his reign of terror within minutes. Then came the moment Woo-Sol dreaded most, Seok-chan's gentle touch on his face, a mockingly familiar greeting that sent chills through the room. When the class president attempted intervention, Seok-chan's cruelty extended even to the girls, prompting Woo-Sol to desperately grab his arm and plead for mercy. This intervention triggered an explosive rage. Seok-chan screamed accusations about forgotten lessons, revealing the horrifying truth that he had tormented Woo-Sol throughout their entire middle school years. Every attempt Woo-Sol made to seek help from teachers only amplified his suffering. Now, the nightmare had returned with renewed vengeance. As Woo-Sol collapsed in agony, a pen caught his trembling vision. With shaking hands, he grasped it while Seok-chan sneered at his cowardice, even grabbing Woo-Sol's hand and pointing it toward his own eyes. In a twisted dare, Woo-Sol struck without thought, and the classroom froze in horrified silence as Seok-chan's screams filled the air. The aftermath was devastating. Because Woo-Sol had deliberately used a weapon, resulting in Seok-chan's permanent blindness in one eye, the courts refused to recognize it as self-defense. Prison introduced Woo-Sol to a hierarchy ruled by violence. The inmates quickly explained the brutal social structure dominated by three powerful leaders: Sang Hyab, a former world judo champion whose skills remained unmatched; Won-jun, whose muscular frame concealed an explosive temper; and Seung, whose deceptively small stature masked crushing strength. But even these titans paled before the prison's ultimate apex predator. Do-hyun sat in the back of the transport bus, radiating an aura that kept everyone at a respectful distance. The youngest MMA world champion in history, once celebrated by international media as superhuman, now faced a life sentence for what authorities deemed excessive self-defense. The night that changed everything began as a celebration. He'd brought flowers and birthday gifts for his sister, only to discover his family massacred by home invaders. The three armed robbers never anticipated facing someone of Do-hyun's caliber. Their deaths were swift and merciless. Woo-Sol's introduction to prison brutality came during a soccer match when he accidentally struck Won-jun in a sensitive area. The humiliation demanded retribution, and his inmates dragged him toward a secluded corner. Traumatic memories of his bullying days flooded back. In desperation, he called out to Do-hyun, who hesitated before deciding to intervene. Won-jun's challenge to the prison's uncrowned king ended with a single devastating punch that left him unconscious on the ground. This rescue came with a price. Won-jun's hatred now burned exclusively for Woo-Sol, while an unexpected visitor delivered another crushing blow. Seok-chan appeared in the visiting room, his ruined eye a permanent reminder of their encounter. His boxing career was finished, but his thirst for revenge had only intensified. He promised to wait for Woo-Sol's release when the real hell would begin. Terror became Woo-Sol's constant companion. Won-jun's threats haunted his days, while Seok-chan's menacing face invaded his nights. Watching Do-hyun's training sessions sparked a desperate idea. Day after day, Woo-Sol brought milk as tribute, enduring Do-hyun's cold rejections until persistence finally cracked the champion's resolve. His plea was simple yet profound. He was tired of running, tired of being weak, tired of viewing his own existence as a mistake. Do-hyun's training regimen was merciless. The initial challenge seemed impossible. 100 laps in 40 minutes. Woo-Sol's body screamed for mercy as his vision blurred and legs buckled, but humiliating memories of his past weakness drove him forward. By the 70th lap, collapse seemed inevitable. Even Do-hyun suggested quitting held no shame, but Woo-Sol's roar of determination echoed through the facility as he pushed beyond his limits until unconsciousness claimed him. Though he failed the test, Do-hyun recognized something extraordinary in that display of will. Under the champion's guidance, Woo-Sol began the painful transformation from victim to fighter. His first pull-up required Do Hyun's assistance, but gradually, his fists grew stronger, his muscles expanded, and even resistance bands snapped under his developing power. The change was remarkable. Inmates who once saw him as prey now watched with growing respect as the terrified boy evolved into a formidable warrior. When bullies targeted his friend Hun Min, Woo-sol's intervention sent shockwaves through the prison hierarchy. His confrontation with Won-jun in the workshop marked his true arrival as a force to be reckoned with. Even as Woo-sol's strength blossomed, Do-hyun's time was running out. The champion's transfer to adult prison loomed, but not before their final sparring session revealed how far his student had progressed. Do-hyun's parting wisdom resonated deeply. Sharks lack swim bladders, so they must keep moving or die. He hoped Woo-sol would never stop swimming. The young fighter's rise continued after Do-hyun's departure. When Seung challenged him publicly, Woo-sol's victory established him as the prison's new apex predator. His leadership brought unprecedented peace, transforming enemies into allies and ending the cycle of violence that had plagued the facility. Early release for good behavior should have been a celebration, but Seok-chan waited outside with one final confrontation. The brutal fight that followed tested everything Woo-sol had learned. When defeat seemed certain, Do-hyun's words about sharks echoed in his mind, reigniting his fighting spirit. Using techniques learned from both Do-hyun and Seung, he finally overcame his tormentor. 6 months later, life as an ex-convict proved challenging, but Woo-sol's prison brothers supported each other through their struggles. A chance encounter at a gym led to an opportunity that would change everything. When a professional boxer named All injured his sparring partner, Woo-sol stepped in as a replacement. His decisive victory over the overconfident fighter opened doors to a darker world. The illegal fighting circuit, called Fog, attracted wealthy gamblers seeking extreme entertainment. When All disappeared before a major fight, the organizers desperately needed a replacement. Woo Yong, the dangerous gang leader who controlled these matches, saw potential in the young ex-convict who had blinded Seok-chan and defeated his fighter. Woo Yong's recruitment attempt met firm resistance. Woo-sol refused to follow Seok-chan's path into darkness, a decision that would have deadly consequences. The gang leader's retaliation was swift and personal. He kidnapped Ji-hee, the woman Woo-sol had grown to care about. The trap was elaborate, using a fake pregnant woman to lure her into danger. The rescue mission became a nightmare when Woo Yong's psychological games forced an impossible choice. Miss Park, his sadistic enforcer, demanded Woo-sol choose between Ji-hee and Won-jun's life. The resulting chaos led to a desperate escape, but Won-jun's heroic sacrifice ensured his friend's survival. His dying words and the notebook of people he'd wronged became Woo-sol's inheritance of guilt and responsibility. The funeral brought painful confrontations, including Won-jun's sister Yeonjin's righteous anger. But as she learned about her brother's transformation and the family he'd found in prison, understanding replaced rage. She joined the team's quest for justice, proving her worth by single-handedly defeating 3 opponents. Their infiltration of Woo Yong's headquarters was a masterpiece of planning and execution. While Woo-sol searched for evidence of their friend's murder, his team held off waves of attackers. The final confrontation between Woo-sol and Woo Yong tested not just physical strength, but moral resolve. When victory was within reach, Woo-sol chose mercy over murder, pulling his defeated enemy back from the window rather than letting him fall. This decision defined who Woo-sol had become, not just stronger, but fundamentally different from the men who had tormented him. Woo Yong's arrest for his crimes brought closure, while Woo-sol fulfilled his promise to apologize to every person in Won-jun's notebook. The final entry bore his own name, a reminder that forgiveness had been granted long ago. In the end, Woo-sol found his true calling not in revenge, but in the boxing ring, where he could channel his strength towards something meaningful. His journey from terrified victim to confident fighter proved that sometimes the greatest victories come not from destroying our enemies, but from refusing to become like them. The shark had learned to swim in different waters, driven by purpose rather than pain. The story ends. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe. If you enjoy content like this, also let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.